Okay, so always use part one of the tip, always use the best camera that you have access to because you want your images to look impressive. I know a lot of the casting directors say, don't worry so much about, if you're shooting on your cell phone or if you're shooting on a camera, a regular DSLR or some type of web camera that's built into your laptop. I say, whenever possible, use the best image and the best sound possible. Now, normally what I do with my self tapes, I record double system sound. Now, what that means is I don't use, like right now, I'm using the sound built into my webcam. On my audition tapes, I don't usually do that. I'll have a separate microphone connected to me, a clip-on mic, and I'll keep that clip-on mic out of frame. And I will later in post-production put the sound and the video together. And it just takes a little bit, few seconds to do that nowadays. Most nonlinear editing software has the ability to synchronize the audio and the video. So it's not a big deal. And you get much better sound that way, having a dedicated audio device as close as possible to the sound source, which is your mouth. So those two tips, best audio possible, best video image possible, and use some supplemental light when possible or when needed. And most of the time it's needed. Like right now, you'll notice this side of my face is a little bit brighter because I have a supplemental light kicking in from the my right, just kicking in a little bit of light to fill in some of the shadow on my face. I should have it a little bit more in front of me, but I'm seated at my desk right now, and my laptop and monitor in front of me. So the light, I don't have the ability to put the light where it needs to be, right to the left or the right of the camera. So you'll want to do that and have a little bit of supplemental light filling in some of the shadows on your face. And again, you want your self-tapes, and you need to do this, again, you need to do this in practice. You don't wait till the day of the self-tape and then try to set up your perfect lighting, your perfect sound, and your perfect video image. You want to do it beforehand and have it at the ready whenever you need to use it. Because you don't want to add that little bit, a little secret here, you don't want to add that little bit of frustration that will show up in your audition when not needed because you can't get your equipment running right. So you need to do that ahead of time, have it set up. Optimum situation is like what I have. I have a dedicated room where I have one area of that room, I have my backdrop permanently set up. I have my camera, my lighting, my extra monitor set up. So everyone can't do that, but you need to have your equipment somewhere at the ready where it's easy to set up. And again, if you're doing this as a profession, all you need is a little corner of a room where you can set up your self-taping station. And I would say every serious actor should have somewhere, even if it's in a closet, even if it's in the corner of your kitchen, and you just move the stuff out of the way when you're not using it, but you don't take it down. You don't disconnect it all. You want to have it there, set up, ready to go, so that when you get a self-tape, you just move the camera into position, you move the light into position. If you have an extra monitor, you move that into position. You don't want to start from zero each time. That's what makes self-taping frustrating, is when you have to start from zero each time you want to do a self-tape. You got to unpack the camera. You got to put it on the tripod. You have to find some place to set it up. You have to set up your backdrop. You have to get your lights out. You have to get your microphone out. If you're using a reference monitor, you have to get that set up. You don't want to do that every time. If you have no choice, then you have no choice. I'm not talking to the people who don't have a choice, where they can't leave the equipment set up all the time, or they don't have an extra room, or they don't have a little corner of the room where they can cover it up. What I used to do also is I would have a little corner of the room and I'd have my equipment pushed into that corner and I'd cover it with a big black sheet. So that's something you can do too. It reminds family members, hey, stay away from this. This is my equipment for my self-tape, trying to get my acting jobs and push my career forward and, better all of our lives, not just mine. So you might have a little area where you can put your equipment in the corner and leave it set up and cover it up. You don't want to accumulate unnecessary dust. You want it to be clean. You don't want your lens dirty, covered with dust. So there are options. Find those options, but always shoot the best high quality self-tape that you can. A lot of times casting people will say, Oh, it doesn't matter as long as we can see and hear you. But that's not true. They want it to look good. I've had a number of casting people tell me, "Oh, your tape looked like we could just take it and drop it into the film." You don't. It doesn't have to be that good. I have a video production background, so my self tapes sometimes, depending on the role, I'll like them similar to how I would see the character lit. I don't go overboard. They still want to see all of your face, both sides of your face. They want to see what your head looks like. So you don't want to get too creative where you're in a silhouette smoking a cigarette. So be creative, be ready, practice setting up your self-tape equipment, or if you have that ability and that luxury, set up a little self-tape workstation. It could be right next to your computer where you do your computer work. So it doesn't have to be, the most expensive equipment and cameras in the world. And again, you can use your expensive cell phone. I know a lot of you out there have the iPhone. You won't get any better image quality off of a cell phone. So you can use that. And also there's ways to hook external microphones, wireless, directly to your cell phone. Very cheap ways. They have a number of now, which I just found out about a year ago or 6 months ago, about these clip-on mics that plug directly into your phone's USB-C jack, and then you have great quality. They're very inexpensive too, under $30, and the sound is great for self-tapes. They hear you nice, clearly, and sounds more professional, so that they're not looking at, well, why did he have this? Like, look behind me right now. This is terrible. You would never turn in a self-tape with, all these books and junk I got in the background. I'm just doing this because I'm right here at my workstation. This is what behind me at my workstation. My workstation is right off my kitchen. You can see back there the sink, the refrigerator. At my workstation where I edit now is downstairs, right off into the little corner of my den area, which used to be a den area. We turned it into a home office. So there's a lot of options that you have if you have the space, if you have the ability. And I know a lot of people don't. So then there are options if you have the funding to go to places for who do self-taping. I wouldn't advise going for every self-tape. If the role is a substantial role and the role fits you, then you may want to go someplace to do it. I've done that in the past. Even though I have all the equipment, I have the ability to do my self-tapes. Sometimes when a role is big enough, I will go to a facility and do my self-tapes. So I don't have to worry about anything except the acting. That's what I do. And I think that's a great example for any actor to follow. If the role is substantial and you think you have a great shot at it, you don't want to worry about the lighting, the sound, the framing. You could go somewhere and get a great self-tape produced. You have to find some place that's good, and you do this in advance. You don't wait to the day of the audition and go strolling into a self-tape facility and find out that you could have done better yourself at home. So again, research, preparing beforehand, those are the things you have to do. Okay, that was the tip. What I want to talk about today too, I want to move on to a topic that I'm going to continue to talk on: artificial intelligence, video generation. For the last 2 or 3 months, almost 3 months, I've been creating a number of artificial characters that I use in series here on my YouTube channel. So go to my channel, check out some of them. You'll see them. Look around, look at some of the playlists. I'll ask you to look at the playlist. I appreciate that. I'm still trying to build up my watch hours, and I need you guys to help me build up my watch hours by going and watching some of my playlists. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But anyway, the subject about artificial intelligence actors. I've come to realize that I was trying to do something with these artificial characters that they're not ready to do. When they're speaking, depending upon the program you use in the software, they can generate or imitate emotions, but only while they're speaking. The hard part is what to do with them for reaction shots, or when they're not speaking, when they're listening to another character talking. They really can't respond. They really don't have the ability to respond because they're artificial. I was treating them mistakenly and trying to do productions with them that I hoped would be passable. Now I'm in the middle of, at the end of actually, my first 15-minute episode for Tammy, the writer, and Tammy, the actress and writer. Tammy, the actress and writer. You'll find that on my channel in the playlist. Tammy, the writer and actress. Take a look at what I've created so far. I've got a lot of episodes. I've been working on it for almost 3 months. And my first big episode was target running time is about 15 minutes. So I reached that target. And when I cut the rough cut together, I could see more flaws in the performance aspect of these artificial characters than I had noticed when I was doing the really short 10, 15-second episodes. I did a lot of those, and I was really pleased with those. Those were fun. A lot of times I could get what I wanted when I generated it or generated over again. But once I started making a more elaborate episode and stringing them together, I started to realize what was really missing, the human element. Right now, these characters have no way to create those elements, those movements, those reactions that are between the dialogue that you need if you're trying to create something that, even halfway approximates a human actor. These artificial characters are nowhere near what we as human actors can do. And I think it's going to be a while. I've been trying to prompt them what to do in between the dialogue, and that's impossible at this point. It's not ready. I still like it. I'm still going to use it. What I did yesterday was I went to all the paid artificial intelligence services that I have online. There's so many of them now. And I ended all of my subscriptions for now. I'm going back. Yes, I am going back. But I need to wait until they are ready for me to come back. And what I mean by ready is that where I can get some type of reaction, where there's some kind of way to control the programming of these characters when they're not speaking. Because you need reaction shots. You need shots where they're moving, when they're sitting, when they're listening, when they're not speaking. So though that is something that I didn't notice when I did a bunch of the really short episodes that I did at the beginning of this series. Again, I just completed my first 15-minute episode and I'm putting it together. And it's a struggle. It's a struggle because you can cut around frozen actors, but so much, or actors who don't give the right response. And you try to prompt it, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get what I'm talking about. Now, a lot of people here who aren't actors, who are using the artificial intelligence actors and creating content, they're not looking at that because they don't really understand the process of acting. They don't understand that just as important as the words we as actors say are the reactions that we give in between the words. Those are even more important than the words we say because those come directly from the actor. Those aren't scripted. Sometimes you might have a little hint at, he or she is in shock. He or she is taken aback. Explanation. It might have a little bit of hints at it, but we as actors, we generally ignore those. And we give the responses that fit the moment to moment, scene to scene, word for word. We are listening to our fellow scene members, and those prompt the responses. Artificial intelligence is not there. It's nowhere near there because the characters aren't real. They can't respond in real time. They can't respond to what's being said to them by another artificially generated character. So again, we're again, I keep saying this in every video that I do about artificial intelligence. I like it. I'm not going to stop using it. I tell you to use it, to learn it, because there's so much more to it than just what I've been using it for, the entertainment field. Everyone out there is going to be affected in any career, is going to be affected and touched on by the rise of the new artificial intelligence. And it's going to help your job. It might replace your job. It might force you to learn things that you are not interested in learning about using artificial intelligence. Learn it. Don't fear it. I know I told the story about in the end of the 80s when I moved out here and the company I worked for was Color System Technologies, and there was a big wave coming through the company that you're going to need to learn DBase, and whoever doesn't learn DBase is going to be replaced. And all it was to learn how to operate a basic database where you just enter information. You know, we were doing research on colors for films because the films were being colorized by the Turner Corporation. And all we had to do was enter the information we gathered into a database so everyone could access it. And they made such a big deal about it. If you don't know DBase, you're going to be replaced. Everyone's going to be forced to learn DBase. And that's the same thing that's happening right now with AI. Again, it's a tool. You need to learn how to use it. I'm not saying you have to become an expert, but you need to know what it can do, what it can't do. Here's another little quick story about AI right now that I learned over the past 3 months working with it. It makes up shit. Just yesterday, and it's happened a number of times over the past 3 months, but just yesterday and the time before, which was about a month ago, it was blatantly clear. It was funny, kind of, because ChatGPT was lying to me. I asked it straight out, can you look at this little scene I've created, and a video scene, and give me a scene by scene description of what's happening in the video? And so first it said yes. So I uploaded it, and it took a while, and then finally came back with an answer. And it wasn't the video that I had uploaded. And I thought something had went wrong. I said, well, maybe I uploaded to myself. I said, maybe I uploaded something wrong. So I re-uploaded the video, and I asked the question again in a more detailed prompt, being very specific. And it said, yes, I'll do that right away. And it spit out another list of scenes that weren't in the video. So I started to think, I said, wait a minute, what is going on here? This told me it could look at the video and give me, and I did it a couple more times and still the same results, where it was giving me words, but these words had nothing to do with what was happening in those scenes in the video that I had uploaded. And I had made the video really small because it doesn't need high quality. And I had done it before. The reason I thought that it could do it was because I had uploaded something and it did summarize it, but then it admitted. It said, I have to be straightforward. And it's funny, this is not a direct quote, but ChatGPT wrote back, I have to be direct. To save time, I have to be more direct. And I'm glad you asked me the question multiple times. So now I will be completely direct. I cannot look at video the way you can as a human. I analyze video based on sound, based on voice, sound effects. So the video I had uploaded was very minimal. It was a silent video, and I just needed a description of each scene. But it told me it could do it, and then it just kept giving me the runaround, and finally it admitted that it couldn't do it. So it's funny. You got this computer program lying, just making up stuff, just purely, blatantly making up stuff. And then finally at the end, it told me that it was making up stuff, that it can't analyze the video if it can't see text, or it can't analyze text, or it can't hear sound. So it estimates about what's going on. It gives you an estimate of what's going on. So I learned that it will tell you that it can do something, but it can't. So again, that leads back to the artificial characters. And if you look at a lot of the content that people are putting together online, they're really short. And even the scenes, if they put together a short bit, like a short film or something like that, you'll notice each cut is very, very short, because you can't linger on the actor. You can't really get reaction shots. I guess you could get reaction shots, but you have to generate the reaction shots separately. That's a possibility. That just jumped into my mind right now. But this is another level of work that is unnecessary, or again, showing that it's not ready to make fully character-driven pieces where a character speaks and a character reacts to what is being said to him or her. And so I'm not saying it can't be done, but it's very time-consuming, and you get a lot of drift in how the characters look. I know there's a lot of programs I've even reviewed a couple on my channel that are coming up with ways to get consistent characters, and some of them are working out really good. And I figured out a couple of ways to get consistent characters on my own. I put together a dating show that I was planning to do with artificially and generated characters, but once I edited the pilot, I realized the trailer And once I edited the trailer, I realized, no, this is not going to work because the reactions weren't authentic of the characters. And the only way they could be authentic is if I prompted those reactions, and then I guess I could edit in separate reactions, but it wouldn't flow the way real reactions flow when you're working with human actors. So again, just another little word out there to the human actors that it may be coming, but it's going to be a while. And I don't really foresee we as human actors being replaced completely. We will be driving what the artificial characters do because they can mimic us. They can, if we tape the scene and then they generate it based on everything we've done, even our listening part, then that could be a more authentic way to go. But you're going to still be in the need of human actors. And there will become a time when you might not need that many human actors. If you look at some of the movies past years with Planet of the Apes and their character generation, they really can get those reaction shots into the ape, into the fake CG apes. And it's all based on what the real actor does. So that possibility is there. It already exists. And that just needs to be moved forward into a version that us as independent filmmakers can use. But there are no software that I know of currently available that can generate those emotions and carry those through when they're not being directly prompted to do that. So it's still a while off. Again, I'm going to back off of it for a while. I'm going to move back onto my productions here on my YouTube channel with human actors and more content generated by me, myself, and continue to give you guys educational content, humorous content. I'm working on a comic series right now. You'll find it on my channel. And it's a comic talk show, but I have a number of projects that I'm trying to fill with human actors. You can't beat working with human actors. Myself as a director, I've directed over 25 independent feature films. And as I started getting into AI, I saw the benefits, AI actors, I saw all the benefits of having them there at my beck and call, creating them exactly the way I wanted them to look. They're ready to work 24 hours a day. If I feel like getting up at midnight, they're ready to show up on the set and act, but they can't bring what a human actor or actress can bring to my production. And I can't converse with them the way I could converse with a human actor or actress. And I don't have that relationship with an artificial generated actor or actress that I can have with a human actor or actress, where I can talk to them about the scene and we can exchange ideas and we can get into the scene and move it forward. No, slow that down a little bit, move this forward, bring that up. Yeah. So it's missing a lot as a director, as a writer, as a producer. And I can see the potential for the future where you can rehearse with these actors and they will remember what you tell them during the rehearsal. And they probably will be able to bring that forth during the production. So it's still a long way off. It's still a long way off. And that 15-minute production that I'm working on, Tammy, the writer and actress, excuse me, I'm saying that, yes, Tammy, the actress and writer, Tammy, the actress and writer. You'll find that on my channel below. You can see what I've been doing with it. I'm going to finish that episode. I'm not 100% sure how. I still need to make a lot of adjustments to it. There's a lot of rough edges. And no matter how many times I prompt the software, you can't get exactly what you want because it doesn't have the ability to give you exactly what you want. One of my favorite sayings is, you can't find the answer because you're asking the wrong questions. You're not asking the right questions. So the question that I have is how to control or how to manipulate artificial actors in between the dialogue. So there's a couple of answers, but that I've come up with, a couple of things I've tried, numerous things. And it's just not what it should be. And again, this is all new. It's all beta. And I understand that. It's going to get better. It's going to get more controllable. It's going to get more user-friendly. A lot of software companies are coming out with prompting tools, and a lot of independent programmers are coming out with prompting tools. And they're beautiful, they're good, they're useful. but they can't fill in what's missing. And that's the human element. So that's where I'm going to leave this for today. I'll probably jump back on again tomorrow. I like the fact of doing this vertical and horizontal, but I don't want to go over the time limit that I've already reached right now. My goal is to try to be somewhere between 20 and 25 minutes. This episode is like 28 minutes. So I thank you for watching me today. Please go to my channel, check out some of my content, watch some of my playlists, share them if you like them. I'm trying to build up my watch hours and I need your help. But yeah, I'm learning a lot and I want to keep sharing it. If someone out there may find this useful or helpful, take a look at it. Consider what I'm saying. Leave me some comments in the, let's start a conversation. My email is available also. You can shoot me an email if you don't want to leave comments at the bottom. I love discussing these concepts and reading your ideas. I get a lot of ideas in the comments from people, and I love to see more. And I answer all my comments. I answer all my emails, and I enjoy sharing what I've learned with artificial intelligence. And I like the ability to do it right now, right on the spot, right live with you guys. So again, I'll see you tomorrow. And if I have anything else to say later today that I may have missed, I might jump back on for a moment or two. That's the convenience of being able to jump on and off here on YouTube and share what I'm learning and keep it fresh, keep it interesting. Thanks a lot. I'll see you in the next one.